It's not about what you know, it's about what you're practicing. What if we had the courage to say, I'm going to find a little bit of time in my days to just do Simran? It's all to gain. We might already be in the fire of our previous actions. We still haven't got a choice about whether we want to carry on burning or whether we're going to start doing Simran right now, and immediately we can turn that flame off. At the moment, for many of us, we're doing Simran for something. If we're going to go and ask anywhere, we should ask at the feet of the Guru. So first things first, there's nothing wrong with coming before the Guru and laying your problems before the Guru and saying, Maharaj, this is my dukh. Please, can you sort me out? Can you help me? Can you fix me? There's nothing wrong with that. But it is also fair to say it's a very low level of spirituality that we have to progress to and then through. Because a time will come, Sadh Sangat Ji, when you walk that path of the Guru and the sweetness starts to flow. Maharaj says that it's such a sweetness that comes when you vibrate the name upon the name of God, that will of itself be the gift that you seek. Aj vaj ke fateh balao, Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki fateh. We're all blessed to be in the company of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, as they bring us together and allow us to be in their sanctuary, as they allow us to sit in their company, to be in the company of the Sangat, and to vibrate upon those teachings that allow us to connect with who we really are inside. And today, as we reflect upon the unsteady way of the world, as we reflect upon news that can come to our day at any moment, demonstrating just how fragile our routines and our lives are in this world, we have this opportunity to reflect and to meditate upon that which is thir, which is completely steadfast and immovable, atal, which is the name, which is the shabad, which is the Guru, that Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj has brought onto this earth. Bani Guru, Guru hai Bani. What is this Guru that we speak of? Is it Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj? Yes, but no. Is it Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj? Yes, but no. For when Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj was asked the question, who is your Guru? We know that you are the Guru, you are Jagat Guru. But who is your Guru? Tera kavan Guru, jiska tu chella. The question asked by the Siddhs. What is it that Guru Nanak Dev Ji would reply? Vi Bani Guru, Guru hai Bani, which Bani Amrit Sare. That the Bani for me is the Shabad. The Bani has always been the Shabad, and that is our protection. The purpose of this life, make no mistake about it, the purpose of this life, make no mistake about it, for the Guru explains this to us every day in Red House Part. Avar kaj tere kite na kaam mil sadh sangat bhaja keval naam. Come into the Sangat and to vibrate upon that Bani, that Shabad, that Naam, that allows us to go beyond the physical. What is that Shabad? What is that Guru? What is that mantra that the Guru has given to us? The Gurmantar of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, the Guru's mantra. And Sadh Sangat Ji, some of you may have heard some parts of what we're going to share today. So just before we go on to explain what the Guru's mantra is, but approach today, this opportunity, with a new mind, with ears that perhaps haven't heard this, because oftentimes when we hear something that sounds vaguely similar to what we've heard, or has a vague resemblance to something that we think we already know, we switch our minds off and we go, I already know this. And we lose the opportunity to receive the genius of what that teaching is that has subtly been evading us, even though we know the principle or the fact. The Guru's mantra, Sadh Sangat Ji, is Vaheguru. Sare akho, Vaheguru. Sare jopo ji. The Guru's mantra is Vaheguru. It was delivered to this earth, it was given to us by Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. And the Guru explains to us that though the mantra can roll off your tongue in less than a half a second, the echo, the vibration is beyond time. If we have a chance to vibrate upon this mantra, upon our lips, upon our tongue, within our heart, though that moment might be fleeting in the worldly sense, that vibration is beyond time. The Vaheguru Mantar, Bhai Gurdas Ji explains. Bhai Gurdas Ji is one of the most eminent scholars in the Sikh faith. Maybe you will have heard the name when we listen to Katha, Bhai Gurdas Ji. Bhai Gurdas Ji was the Mama of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj. It is written in our history that to understand the teachings of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, the key, the kunji, the chabi to understanding Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj is actually found in the var, in the scriptures of the writings of Bhai Gurdas Ji. That's how much respect we place Bhai Gurdas Ji in the Panth. And what does Bhai Gurdas Ji say about the Gurmantar of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj? Bhai Gurdas Ji explains, Vaheguru Gurmantar hai japa home khoi. They say that the Gurmantar of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Vaheguru Gurmantar hai, that is the mantar japa home khoi. What does this mantra do? It has the sole purpose of doing one thing: destroying our home. What is home, Sadh Sangat Ji? Ho meaning I, man meaning me. I, me, quite literally, is the disease, the affliction that those that are not beyond this world, those except which we can call Gurmukhs, who are completely attuned to the name of God. Home is the disease of illusion, of attachment to our own identity that causes us so much suffering. Home is the source of all suffering in this world. And Guru Maharaj is explaining to us, Bhai Gurdas Ji is explaining to us, that the Gurmantar of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj is the home killer. It's the karam killer. It's that which destroys the disease that we are suffering from, and in many regards, depending on the way that we are living our life, we are actually growing that disease, as opposed to undertaking the opposite task for which we have come into this world as Gursikh. Vaheguru Guru Mantar hai japa home khoi. Just by reciting the Guru's mantar every single day, it's like cleaning away all of those toxins that you would, using language we can sort of relate to, clearing away all those toxins, not just those toxins of the blood or the liver or the kidneys, the toxins of the mind. And Western medicine is just catching up now. Some medicinal practitioners are saying that 98% of the disease which we have to endure as human beings emanates from the state of the mind. 98% of disease, Sadh Sangat Ji, emanates from the state of the mind. And Maharaj has given us a mantra that if we bring it into our days, quite literally, will take away all of the diseases of our body, of our mind, and perhaps most importantly, those afflictions that stop us from connecting with our own soul. Tine taap nivaran hara dukh hanta sukrasa tako benana ko lagi jaki prab agge ardas. Maharaj talks about the three types of disease when we do ardas. There's the disease of the mind, there's the disease of the body, and there's the disease of what we might be afflicted with through obstacles in our worldly affairs. Like, for example, if you walk in a street, someone attacks you. These are three ways you can be injured. And Maharaj is explaining to us that in the court of the Guru, all three of these afflictions can be dealt with by way of the ardas. But what is the ardas that we should be asking for? Be aisi mat dijay mera thakur, aisi mat dijay mera thakur, sada sada datyai. Be bless me with this sakhia, Maharaj, that during the course of my days, sada sada datyai, that my mind is constantly attuned to you. In other words, that whilst I undertake my affairs, the name of God, maybe silently, maybe subtly, but it always exists within my mind, that it's always being whispered from my tongue. Be Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Sansar Rogi Naam Daru. Maharaj explains that the world is diseased, in a state of disease. Sansara Rogi Naam Daru. And the medicine that we've been gifted with is the gift of the Gurmantar of the Guru. Sadh Sangat Ji, oftentimes we're looking to complicate things because the world gives us so many examples that the more complicated things are, the more progress you've made. Belt systems, when you go into an akhada, whether it's medals or promotions or at work that take you to a place where you previously were happy but now you find yourself stressed out. But we're told this is progress, right? And so when it comes to Sikhi, we often look at the Gurmantar of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. We remember it being recited in our house when we were younger. Maybe our nanny, our bibi sat us on a lap. But as we get older, we somehow lose this beautiful connection as we seek satisfaction and perhaps a higher place. I'll put the word higher in inverted commas. Because the truth of the matter is, if we would remain connected to this mantra of the Guru, that childish innocence of ours, which is the purest part of who we are, that we look at in our children and admire so deeply, but why is it that we should assume that we shouldn't have this within our own being? I think just last week when we were speaking about those great saints that had the most knowledge, someone that comes to my mind right now, Sant Gyani Hari Singh Ji Randhawe Wale. Many would regard them right now as perhaps the most wise, the greatest Gyani of the Panth right now, in terms of their level of knowledge, their level of seva. To give you an idea, Sant Gyani Hari Singh Ji, the lineage of knowledge goes back to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, and they would sit still amongst the most Vadvan of Gurmukhs, the most Vadvan, and they would sit as children in his company making notes as they ask questions about Gurbani. You'll maybe have a chance to see them. They'll be coming here in the summer, and they normally spend about a week at Seven Kings. And I was very privileged to have their company last year. And I asked Gyani Ji, I said, Gyani Ji, look, you've got so much sakhia, so much teachings. What shabad is the one that we should connect with? Totally informed by what Gyani Ji is about to say. Maharaj, give me the bhajan that we should be looking to take as the sakhia from. But what is it that we should, what shabad in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj should we repeat? And this is the most Vadvan Gurmukh on the planet. Some would say, I would say. And what does Gyani Hari Singh Ji say? They say, Amandeep Singh, tusi Gurmantar da jap karya karo. Jam Mool Mantar da. They say the Mool Mantar or the Gurmantar, Vaheguru. They say those are the two most takra mantar that we have. It was like a slap in my face. But Amandeep Singh, it's not about what you know, it's about what you're practicing. It's about what your jivan is. It's about who you've become. And if at some point we've looked at these things and moved past them, and I put the words past them in inverted commas because we're not supposed to be moving past them, we're supposed to be moving through life with them, constantly as our companions, be aisi mat dije mara thakur, sada, sada, forever and always, may I always be connected to your mantra, to your name. But what business do we have to look past this mantra? Some would say, Baba Nand Singh Ji, for example, would say that the whole of Japji Sada Path is just explaining the beauty of that mantra, that Mool Mantar. Sadh Sangat Ji, make no mistake about it, it's a very humbling thing to have to go back and realize that you had all the answers in your pocket in the first place. But to relearn is also a blessing, for to relearn is a chance to explore that which you would otherwise have to explain why you wasted at the end of your life. Har ka naam na japasaga vara, kya soche hai varan vara. Maharaj says, Har ka naam na japasaga vara. That if you go through your life and you've not meditated upon the name of God, your life is gavar, your life is wasted. Har ka naam na japasaga vara, kya soche hai varan vara. What are you doing, Amandeep Singh? All of the things that fill your mind that seem so important, they'll take away decades, if not more, and many hundreds of millions have done just that. They'll take away decades, if not more, if we just find the time to vibrate upon the name of God. We'll find that everything that we're looking for through those janjals, through those strategies, through all of those planned courses of action that we're trying to undertake, what are we trying to achieve? We're trying to achieve some form of happiness. But what if the happiness could be found just through the Guru's teachings? Be Ananda, Ananda Sabko Kehe, Ananda Guru Te Janya. Maharaj says, yo, you want happiness? I'm not saying that we should abandon our worldly affairs and go live in a jungle. The point I'm trying to make is that if we look at the root of the motivation behind some of the things we do them because we think that those things will make us happy. So what we're abandoning to focus something else with, what we're abandoning the opportunity to sit at home and do bhagati and do abhyas, to do simran. What we're abandoning that for, we're abandoning it for something that we think is going to make us happy. But Maharaj explained to us, be nanak bhagata sada vigas. Look at those that are most happy. Spend some time with Gyani Hari Singh Ji, Gyani Kalwan Singh Ji, those that have spent their days dedicated to Naam. And ask me if they are less happy or more happier than us. Be in the company of those that are dedicated towards the name of God, and ask yourself when you sit in their company, be who is in that avastha that you'd rather take home with you in your heart. As I hear you calling out to me, Amandeep, I hear what you're saying, but I don't have any time. I've got to get the children to daycare, then I've got to start my work day at 9, I've got to finish at 4 because I'm supposed to be working till 5, but I've got to finish all of that work till 5 by 4 so I can pick the children up. I've got coursework, modular exams. I've got so many things to do. Buddha says everybody should try and meditate for an hour a day. Unless you don't have time. If you haven't got the time to do that, which is fair enough, if you haven't got the time to do an hour's meditation a day, because you're so busy and life is so taking you off your feet and you're so stressed out, if that is your condition and you can't do an hour a day, fair enough, then do 2. And the teaching is like, what Buddha is trying to say through that teaching is that if you'll find yourself in such a place in your life that you can say to yourself, honestly look in the mirror, I have no time to sit and improve the quality of my mental and spiritual well-being, you've got to look at the things that are around you and see which one of those things you're going to burn. But how can we justify being in dukh constantly, putting plasters over our pains and our emotions for decades and the hope that one day we'll find time to be happy? I just don't believe that that is the way of the Guru's house. I don't believe that Maharaj has brought us into their house to suffer inexorably, without an end date. When Maharaj has given us such gems like Sukhmani Sahib da Path, the sole purpose of Sukhmani Sahib da Path is to bring Sukh into your man. And yet we find all the reasons not to do that because we want to find something that will make us happy. Can you see where we're going wrong, Sadh Sangat Ji? So Buddha says you should do at least 1 hour Simran a day. If you can't do that because you're so busy, fair enough, then do 2. And I think that catches some of us out sometimes. What about our families, Sadh Sangat Ji? How are they going to manage if we start waking up in the morning and doing Simran? How would our families manage if we have more patience, more courage, more happiness at the breakfast table? I think that they will manage just fine. And speaking of our families, what does Guru Sahib say about those that do Simran? What happens to their families? Maharaj says, Jis Simrit Sab Kelvik Nase Pitri Hoi Udaro. Maharaj says that if you find the courage to look away from this world and to look inwardly and do Simran, Maharaj says, Jis Simrit Sab Kelvik Nase. Check this out, Sadh Sangat Ji. Maharaj says, Jis Simrit, those that do Simran, on the Gurmantar of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, Sab Kilvik Nase Pitri Hoi Udaro. We'll get the easy bit out of the way first. Maharaj says, Pitri, your pravar, your family, your generations, your kul, Hoi Udaro. Just by doing Simran, your family will get blessed. And we can understand that. All you've got to do is go to a perfumery to buy some perfume. When you walk home, the essence, the fragrance of that which you've bought for yourself enamors everybody in your house. As you walk through the front door, everyone's like, you smell nice. Where have you been? Oh, I went to Debenhams and I bought a bottle of aftershave, or wherever it is. That fragrance in the worldly sense can enamor those that are closest to us. What do you think would happen of the Naam if we bring that into our house? Can you imagine in your houses, as you start young families, if your children would only know a waking look at you to see you in Sehaj, to see you in a state of an avastha of complete stillness. But what do you think that would do to the anxieties and the calamities of our youngers if they could see that the elders know what sahaj actually is? Sadh Sangat Ji, we look to give our children and our nephews and nieces the best virtues that we can muster. But if we haven't got sahaj, if we haven't got anand, if we don't have the courage to look inwardly ourselves, we can only give what we have, right? We can only give that which is within our own gift. And so Maharaj is explaining to us that if we want to bring blessings to our families, it's not about abandoning our spiritual well-being so we can provide sustenance for our families. No. Maharaj is explaining to us that the best way that we can serve our children is to improve our fragrance, our inward state of being. How many examples do we know of through friends and family where one person has come into Sikhi and started doing Simran, started vibrating upon the Naam of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, and then husband, cousin, mother, father, slowly start walking that path? How many examples of Manne, Paravare, Sardar, where those that believe in the Guru, Paravare, and their family have become Sardar, have become saved in this way? So Sadh Sangat Ji, Guru Sahib saying, Jis Simrit Sab Akela Vikhanase. When we do Simran, not only do we find blessings in our own anand, and you have the strength to then handle all those things that would otherwise be there, but you wouldn't have the strength to deal with those things. Not only then are we weaponized to go and face the world, but our family is directly benefited by those blissful undertakings. But here's a really interesting part, Sadh Sangat Ji. Maharaj says, Jis Simrita Sab Kelvik Kanase. Kelvik is a very special word. It refers to the Vedic, our Hindu brothers' understanding. In the Sanatan Dharam, it refers to their understanding of a certain type of sin, which we call Kelvik Pap. Kelvik Pap are those Pap that are unforgivable. So we don't really have this concept in Sikhi because Maharaj is beyond. Maharaj can always forgive us. Maharaj can forgive for even the worst things that we can imagine, and our history bears out those truths of people that have done unspeakable things. But when their minds were enlightened by the shabad of the Guru, by the Gurmantar, they would go on to be completely turned around. There are so many examples of that. So we don't have that understanding of Kelvik in Sikh Dharma because Maharaj is beyond, and they are Dayalu. They are without end, and they are able to forgive us for all things that we do. So Maharaj says, Jis Simrita Sab Kelvik Kanase. That even if you find yourself forsaken at someone else's door by what you have done, by a mistake that is so painful that even the thought of reflecting upon it brings trauma to your mind. And we've all been there. In fact, what do you do when you have such a painful thought? You keep playing it in your mind. Rather than stopping to play it, we torture ourselves by playing it over and over again like a broken record. In many ways, you'll all know what your own Kelvik Pap is relative to your own understanding. Subjectively, you may be right or wrong, but you have an understanding of that action which you have done, that regretful place that you have been in your mind, which you play over and over again, traumatically, punishing yourself over and over again. Maharaj talks about the worst endeavors in the Sanatan Dharam, which were unforgivable, that would have you, if you will, cast out. Maharaj says, Jis Simrita Saba Kelvik Nase. If you do Simran on the name of God, even that Kelvik Pap, even that Pap which is unforgivable, insurmountable, Jis Simrita Saba Kelvik Nase, even that will become Nas, because that is the Shakti of our Satguru and the gift of the Gurmantar. Vaheguru Sadh Sangat Ji, let's be very clear. A mistake is just a mistake. It is not a death sentence. And that's not me, that's me speaking those words in English, but it's a reflection of the philosophy of our Sadhguru. It's a reflection of the philosophy of our Sadhguru, because our Sadhguru is Dayalu. They are here to forgive us. Why is it so important that we have an understanding of this? Because although the Guru is forgiving, we sometimes are not. And we hold on to our worst actions and make assumptions that based on those things, we have no right to make progress towards our Guru. And that is just wrong. Let the Guru decide. In reality, when we do that, when we make assumptions based on things that we have done that prevent us from keeping our gears, when we make assumptions based on the families that we've been born into that prevent us from growing our beards or giving up that intoxicant or walking away from that cycle of friends, when we do these things, it's really just base ego. Because what we're saying is that I know best. I know the limits of this Guru, and I know that I don't belong or I have a right to make moves. And it's just wrong. It's ill-informed, it is painfully unhelpful, and it is more importantly just incorrect, it's wrong. Because the Guru's examples are based on their history. And how many examples do we have of thieves, people that have committed great atrocities, but when they come into the house of the Guru and they realize, Yo Maharaj, your mantar is for me, please bless me with your mantar, that the Guru would be Dayalu and they would be compassionate and they would be giving. Sadh Sangat Ji, you'll know how it feels to sit in the Sangat and vibrate upon the name of God. You'll know how that changes you from how you sit right now and how you feel right now. In fact, sitting in the Sangat is such a blessing. Why? Because when we sit in the Sangat, we have a chance to reflect upon the name of God, and everything that we're doing is amplified by the blessings of the Sangat. So when we sit in the Sangat, we should open up our hearts. I've said this before, but now we have the understanding, the context. We should open up our hearts from a place of gratitude, because Maharaj, you're allowing us to sit in the most fruitful place where doing Simran gives the most bakshish, gives the most blessings, because the Sangat amplifies that energy. In fact, Sadh Sangat Ji, there's an example from a previous age. There were two very respected sages. Vishamitra was one name, and Vasishtha. Again, these names are great scholars heralding back from the Sanatan Dharam, the old Dharam. And Vishamitra, this great respected sage, he's speaking with Vasishtha, and they agree to exchange their jap tap, to exchange their amount of worship that they have done. So Vishamitra, he has done 58,000 years of bhakti. They would sit in one pora and they would do this. They say, I can offer you my 58,000 years, but what do you have to offer me? Vasishtha goes, I've got 4 kariyan. A kari in Punjabi is like 22 to 24 minutes. So, okay, 4 kari is like 96 minutes of Simran. He goes, I've got 96 minutes of Simran. He goes, I'll give you that. You give me your 58,000 years, and you can have my 96 minutes. 4 kari. And Vishamitra goes, that's not a very fair trade. And Vasishtha goes, let's go and speak to the great ones and see whose is greater. So Vishamitra and Vasishtha, they go and see Brahma, Vishnu and Shivji to speak to them and ask, whose Simran is greater? My 58,000 years, says Vishamitra, or Vasishtha's 4 kari, 96 minutes. Brahma, Vishnu and Shivji, they go, look, we're too busy in our own worldly affairs. Go somewhere else if you want to ask these questions, these questions. And so they go to Sheshnag. Sheshnag is like a devta, which is like the serpent god, if you will, the snake. In some mythological schools of thought, there's the belief that the earth is actually held up on the head of a snake. Sheshnag, their name is. So Sheshnag, in this example, which we're sharing from the Sanatan Dharam, from the old Dharam, Sheshnag has the weight of the earth upon its head. He goes, listen, and Vishamitra goes, whose jap tap is greater, my 58,000 years or these 96 minutes? And Sheshnag says, I can't evaluate that. I've got the weight of the world on my head right now. Can somebody please take this weight off me and I'll answer your question? So Vishamitra goes, let me offer that. I've got enough gun, I've got enough virtue, enough Shakti from my Simran, 58,000 years of Simran. Let me take the weight of the earth. So Vishamitra goes forward confidently to take the weight of the earth, to just hold that weight, to bear that weight for just a moment. But he can't hold that weight. The weight is too much, and so Sheshnag continues to bear that weight. Vasishtha goes forward with his 96 minutes, goes, let me hold the weight of the earth while you can work out the answer to the question. And easily enough, Vasishtha is able to hold the weight of the earth, just like Sheshnag is doing. And so Sheshnag says to Vishamitra, you've done 58,000 years of Simran on the name of God. But Vasishtha has spent 96 minutes in the Sangat, listening to the repetition of the name of God. Sunate paneet, kehete pavita. Maharaj says, when we listen, sunate paneet, we're going to recite Anansada part when we finish this vichar together, this journey together. Maharaj says, sunate paneet, listening is so much greater. And it's in the company of the Sangat, when we vibrate upon the name of God, when we're lucky enough to come here on a Tuesday, if Simran is going on, or lucky enough to come here on a Friday, when the Kirtan is resounding. And Sadsangat Ji, the example from this part of our history is that Vasishtha is saying, just by sitting in the Sangat, you don't know what gun we collect. If we just came here and recited the Mangal together and vibrating upon the Shabad as 200 Sangat, or however many Sangat is sitting here today, and we just do Bani Guru, Guru Hai Bani, Vich Bani Amrit Sare. Or we sit in the Sangat and recite the Guru's mantra together, what blessings are going to flow. Ape Vida Karave. We call this Vida. Vida is the understanding of when you go to someone's house, they don't let you leave that house without getting a blessing. But what Vida do we receive by sitting in the Sangat and vibrating upon the name of God? Sadsangat Ji, should we have a little look inside and find out? Vaheguru Sadsangat Ji, any which way we look at this, Vishamitra has done 58,000 years of Bhagati. It's not equal to just Charkari of Simran, 96 minutes of Simran, listening to the name of God in the Sangat. That's one way we can look at it. The other way is this: by doing Simran, the Bhagats are holding up the earth. And the Vasishtha is able to hold up the earth. Be what problems in our lives bear us down. We're not talking about the weight of the earth. We're just talking about the weight of a few negative thoughts that eat away at our minds. What weight do these bear down upon us that crushes into the ground? They'll allow us to be kept in our beds way after we should have woken up for fear of what we've got to face in the day. What wonderful gift would it be if we had the name of God as our company as we go into this world? There's a saying that I heard: through kind acts, we can't necessarily change the entire world, but we can change someone's world. That some kind act that we do, some selfless act that we do for someone in need, you might not hear about it on the news, but for that person it will be news. And so it got me thinking, as we hear this example about how our random acts of kindness or small acts of kindness can have such a deep and meaningful act upon this world, effect upon someone's world. But what about our own well-being? We spoke by doing Simran, we can bring those blessings to our children, and we can remove those most painful sins, those gilvik paap that are unforgivable in other faiths, but they just fall at the feet of the Guru to be forgiven here. That if we do Simran, Maharaj is able to forgive us for all of those things. But what if we were just a bit kind to ourselves? What if we had the courage to say, I'm going to find a little bit of time in my days, and the first part of the day as we wake in the morning, to just do Simran. It's all to gain. There's a wonderful Sakhi, a wonderful story that comes to mind. There was a Bhagat, and her name was Bhagat Dhru. And again, this itihas, this history, plays out in a previous age. Bhagat Dhru is born to a king via the king's first wife. The king is married a second time, and Bhagat Dhru is in the courtyard playing. And the king's throne is currently unkept. And what does he do? Just playfully, as a child does, playing, exploring, he goes up and he steps upon the throne and he sits on the throne of the king. Innocently, meaning nothing by this action. And the king's second wife, who's got her own plans for her own children that she's already born to the king, she gets consumed by anger, jealousy and rage, and she takes that child off the throne, scolds the child, passes her back to her mother, and sends them out of the room and speaks to them like they're servants. And the king's first wife has got no respect in the house. And Bhagat Dhru says to their mother, they say to their mother, why are we cast out like this way? Really interesting part of our history. This philosophy, these teachings, this way of thinking is so lost in the philosophies that we're being we're having beaten into us. What does the mother say to her son, Bhagat Dhru? Does she start blaming this other woman? Does she start blaming her affairs? Does she start saying that my husband's different now to the way that he was? All of those things are there to be borne out, and perhaps there's truth in those things. But what control does she have over these things? No control. So what does she say? In history it's recorded that she says to her son, she says, my name is very low, and I'm having to suffer and endure this circumstance because in my previous life, I never recited the name of God. And so I have no honor. And I just think that's such a wonderfully powerful thing to acknowledge. We're so quick to look to other people to blame them for our circumstances. We're so quick to look to others and say, if it wasn't for what you did to me or what you're doing to me, my life would be in a better quality, a better state. And what we're doing is, in doing this, in pointing these fingers outwardly, what we're really doing is we're enslaving ourselves because we have no control over somebody else's actions. What does Maharaj say? Maharaj says, Jo main kiya, so main paya, dos na dije, avarjana. They say, whatever it is that is happening to me, Jo main kiya, so main paya, I'm just reaping the benefits of those actions. Dos na dije, avarjana. I'm not going to blame anybody. And that sounds, our immediate reaction that comes up to bite us is the words, yeah, but you don't know what happened to me with that person, and so on and so forth. And it's just really enslavement. Because for so long as we're obligating ourselves to someone else, so long as we're looking to say that my condition is because of somebody else, we release ourselves from the power to move forward. Why is it that Guru Sahib has given us a very particular shastra? What do they call this shastra? They call it kirpan. Kirpa, meaning that one that has the shakti to do what they need to do. And an, meaning honor. Man, meaning having that royal sovereignty to say that I am answerable and my condition is answerable to no one. And I might not be in a great place, but I acknowledge it's because of my own efforts or shortcomings. And so tomorrow I'll make more efforts and I can move forward. So Mataji says to Bhagat Dhru, son, you're asking me why I'm in this condition. I'm in this condition because in my previous janam I didn't recite the name of God. Har ka naam na japasa gavara. Says the Guru that when we don't recite the name of God, our life is completely gavar. We don't have any meaning to it. Har ka naam na japasa gavara. Kya soche hai? Baran bar. We spoke about this a lot last week. Mara says, Kya soche? Why you keep dwelling on things? Just do what you need to do. Don't let your mind do so much janchal Like the Buddha said, if you haven't got any time to do Simran, you haven't got even 1 hour, don't think about it so much, do 2. Find yourself delving into that opportunity to make progress. Bhagat Dhru says, you're telling me that our condition is this way. We are lowly regarded in the house of our own father and husband respectively because we haven't done any Simran. I resolve now to do Simran. What teaching is this? Immediately made aware of what is bringing about a shortcoming in his state. What does Bhagat Dhru do? Rather than going, whatever's going to be will be. If that's the situation, then so be it. Bhagat Dhru says, I'm going to do Simran right now. What teaching is this? We might already be in the fire of our previous actions. We still haven't got a choice about whether we want to carry on burning or whether we're going to start doing Simran right now. And immediately, we can turn that flame off. We can bring that softness. Jalan buji sital hua manua sadgur ka darsan paaye jiyo. Just by looking upon the name of God, just by listening to the name of God, Jalan buji, that fire can be quenched. Sadgur ka darsana paaye jiyo, just by having the darshan of the Guru. So, Bhagat Dhru, what do? Hearing about the circumstances, hearing about the conditions of his mother and their own status, they leave the kingdom and they go straight into the jungle and they are looking for a place to do bhakti. They go into the jungle and they stumble across a devta. His name's Narad Muni. Narad Muni is the son of Vishnu. Narad Muni says, what are you doing here? This isn't a place for children. He goes, listen, the way that we're being treated in the world, I've got to fix my situation. I've got to take responsibility. I've come here to do tapasya, to do bhakti. But now that I've stumbled across you, O great Narad Muni, give me a shabad. Give me something that I can do a abhyas on this. Narad Muni, pleased by the courage of that one who is seeking to make amends for his condition, he gives him a shabad. Narad Muni gives him a shabad, and he goes and sees the king, goes, your son's in the jungle. There's lions and tigers in there. You might want to watch out. The king is so upset. He sends a messenger. He goes, tell my son to leave the jungle and come back to the kingdom. If he comes back, forget all of these shenanigans. I will give him half the kingdom straight away. The messenger goes to see Narad Muni. It's a pretty sweet deal, right? But look at this Soch Satsangat Ji. Look at the Sanatan way. Look at the ways of those that are wise. We're already thinking, job done. He left to correct his situation, right? What does Narad Muni say, Satsangat Ji? What sakhia can we take? Narad Muni goes, Le, main tak kam shuru bhi nahi kitta. I haven't even started doing Simran yet. I've just had a thought in my mind and it's got me half the Raj. Imagine if I sat down and actually did Simran. Sadh Sangat Ji, the more that we try to engage in a blissful state which is beyond the mind, the more the mind, which is very happy to exist in Maya, because the mind only exists in Maya, don't forget. If you go beyond the mind, you're going to kill your mind, right? So your mind may not be your best friend as you start to go beyond the mind. Don't forget, at the moment, many of us, and I've got the right to speak to the Sangat, I'll speak to myself, Bhai Amandeep Singh, many times, we're enslaved by the mind. And a lesser Guru Sikh, a lesser soul would have looked at Bhagat Dhru's situation and said, I've had a result here. I can go back and bring honor to my mother's house. But Bhagat Dhru is undeterred. Why? Because this is all just a bahana to give them the opportunity to recite the name of God. Sadh Sangat Ji, when we get to a place, at the moment, for many of us, we're doing Simran for something. So we'll recite the name of God for a period of time that we can ask Maharaj to help us with something. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'll make it very clear. There's nothing wrong with that. People say, we shouldn't come and ask the Guru for things. We shouldn't do Path, Seva and Simran and ask the Guru. But why not? This is our Guru. It's our Jagat Guru. If we're going to go and ask anywhere, we should ask at the feet of the Guru. So first things first. There's nothing wrong with coming before the Guru and laying your problems before the Guru and saying, Maharaj, this is my dukh. Please, can you sort me out? Can you help me? Can you fix me? There's nothing wrong with that. But it is also fair to say that it's a very low level it's a very low level of spirituality that we have to progress to and then through. Because a time will come, Sadh Sangat Ji, when you walk that path of the Guru and the sweetness starts to flow. Be meethe har gun gao, Jindu, tu meethe har gun gao. Maharaj says that it's such a sweetness that comes when you vibrate the name upon the name of God, that will of itself be the gift that you seek. When that itself will be the anand that you seek. Sadh Sangat Ji, I met a Gurmukh, I won't mention their name because it wouldn't be fitting to do so. But he finished his Santya of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, meaning that he'd gone through every limb of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj and learnt the meanings and the pronunciations of that. And then Dasam Granth by Gurdas Di Devara, which we spoke about earlier, and I think also Sarblo Granth. And then they went to go and see a great Gyani Hari Singh Ji, who I spoke to you about earlier. And he was going to go to a village and start doing katha. This is just an example of the sweetness of the Shabad of the Guru, which for many of us is elusive at the moment. And he goes to see Gyani Hari Singh Ji. He goes, I'm going to go to that pend, I'm going to start doing katha. They were a student of Gyani Hari Singh Ji. And Gyani Ji says to them, before you do this, go and spend some time in a pora and just recite the Gurmantar of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Do Mool Mantar and do the Gurmantar of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Go and recite this, go and vibrate upon this Shabad. And so, this Gyani, this Gurmukh, they go and do that. And 10 years later, last summer, they were still in their pora. They keep coming to get me to do katha. Because, but all of those sweetnesses, they don't compare to when I'm vibrating. I finally realized that actually it was about reciting the name of God. 10 years later, Gyani Ji phones them and they're in the pora. They answer the phone. I witnessed this. I'm standing before, I'll tell you before me. And they phone them and they go, are you doing a Simran? He goes, I'm still doing Simran right now in this moment. And because they'd reached such an avastha that they realized that you can do these things for things, and there's nothing wrong with that. As we make our progress, as we make our relationship with the Guru stronger, and our parosa grows deeper. But a time would come when the Simran itself is the blessing, is the gift. And the opportunity to sit in the Sangat and do Simran is what itself that we would be grateful for. So there's nothing wrong with coming to the Sangat and doing Simran and doing Ardas and saying, Maharaj, can you bless me with these things? But perchance the Guru is giving that day. Imagine, Maharaj is saying, Bhai Gurdas is saying, Vaheguru Gurmantar hai, japa hom mein khoi. That the greatest gift that we can do is unveil your jyot. And that your jyot becomes pargat within your own being. You can feel the light of God within you. Imagine if that was yours to ask for as you bear down your offerings before the Guru. And all that we asked for was something lesser. This is the point, Sadh Sangat Ji. How many times do we ask before the Guru and we get exactly what we asked for? Perchance we had a higher source from the Guru's teachings, we could ask for anything. There's an example of a great Guru Sikh, his name was Bhai Gopala Ji. And Maharaj says that if there's anyone that can correctly and perfectly recite Japji Sada Path without making any mistakes and having their dhyan completely focused on the Shabad, I'll be very pleased. And I'm just shortening the itihas, the history. By Gopala Ji, they step forward and they recite the Shabad completely. And as they're getting near the end of the Shabad, their mind starts getting taken by all of the things that Guru Sahib's going to give them as a gift. There were new horses that had been brought before Guru Maharaj. And by Gopala Ji's thinking, I'm going to get blessed. I can see that Maharaj is so prasann, they're so happy. And Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, as the part is being recited, they get up onto one knee. They get up to this motion to sort of stand up. And then they hold that position for just a moment, and then they sit back down. And then by Gopala Ji, they finish the recitation of that Shabad. And they say to Maharaj, Maharaj says to them, be Kosh Mangala, whatever you want, ask for it, Kosh Mangala, and I'll give you whatever gift you want. And Bhai Gopala Ji says, those horses that have come into the house of the Guru, I much desire to have one of those beautiful seed. Can I have one of those horses? And Maharaj says, look, that's yours. That's your gift. You've come to the house of the Guru, you've asked, you've got what you wanted, your ardas is fulfilled. Bi birti kade na hove, janki ardas. The ardas of the Guru never goes unfulfilled. And then afterwards, the Guru Sikhs, they ask Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, for a moment you got onto one knee as you got to stand. What was you doing in that moment? They say, in that moment, I was so happy with Bhai Gopala Ji. I was getting ready to get off the takht to offer it to Bhai Gopala Ji. But I could see in their mind that their thoughts were taken by their ardasa, by their worldly affairs. So the question here is this, Sadh Sangat Ji. As we come before the Guru, And it's painful to think now, as we come before the Guru, desperate, sometimes consumed by the difficulties of our circumstances, how many times have we come before the Guru, made our ardasa, if we had a bit of awareness from the sakhia of the Guru, that if we weren't taken by those ardasa, and we just asked the Guru, Guru Sahib, do with me what you will, where we could have gone, but for what we were stuck by because of the limits of our own intelligence, by our own ardasa. Guru Sahib says, Apo apani bodh hai jeti. But you can only know God and God's expanse and God's gifts and God's abilities and God's ability to serve you based on your own limited intelligence. At one point, it's just dairy milks. At next point, you needed a car. Based on where you are in your avastha, right? Sadh Sangat Ji, at any one of those points, you could have been by Gopala Ji asking to become one with the Guru. So Sadh Sangat Ji, this is the purpose of the Gurmantar. Vaheguru Gurmantar hai, japa hum mein khoi. This is the most important vichar that I want to share with you today, Sadh Sangat Ji. There is between you and your true self a wall. Listen very carefully. Guru Sahib literally calls it a wall. Peet. Ho peet payo hai picho sonat des nikatayo. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj explains this. This is the best way we can understand the value of the Gurmantar that I have come across. Maharaj is saying, between you and I, there's a wall. Guru Sahib's talking for us in the first person. They're putting themselves in our position. Obviously, the Guru's perfect, but they're putting themselves in our situation, calling out for the beloved that they are seeing that we're detached from. Maharaj says, Ho peet payo he bicho sunat des nikatayo. They're saying, yo, Vaheguru, I can see you. I can see your place. But it seems so far away. Your voice seems muffled. There's a wall between me and you. It's how thick is that wall? Maharaj says that wall is as thin as the expanse of a butterfly's wing. You know the thinness of a butterfly's wing? Like a fluttering half millimeter maybe, yeah? Ho peet payo he bicho sunat des nikatayo pambidi ke paat pardo bin dekhe dur ayo. Maharaj says, this wall that's between you and I is not made of bricks and cement. This wall that is so thin and so delicate, it's only made up of one thing. It's made up of my home, my ego. Ho peet payo he bicho sunat des nikatayo pan pidi ke paat pardo bin dekhe dur ayo. But because I can't see you, bin dekhe, because I can't see you, dur ayo, you feel so far away. Sadh Sangat Ji, let's be very clear. How do we take a hammer to that wall? How do we smash that wall down that it comes crumbling down, that the light, the rays of the sun can come upon our face? How can we undertake this endeavor and live with the warmth of the Guru's company, not seeming durayo, but seeming so very close? The only way that we can do that is through vibration on the name of God. Aakho Sat Naam Sri Vaheguru. Maharaj says, Pambidi ke paat pardo, din bin dekhe dur ayo. Just because I can't see you, you seem so far away. But the wall that's between us and Parameshwar Vaheguru is only made up of home, our own ego. And the only thing that we need to do to destroy our home is to vibrate upon the Gurmantar of Guru Nanak. Never before has it seemed such a sweet idea. Amandeep Singh, never before has it seemed such a sweet idea that even if your house is on fire in the morning, you wake up, you smell smoke. Even if your house is on fire, it better burn slowly, because I'm not leaving the house until I do the jap of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. If my house is on fire, fine. The separation from my Atma has been on fire the whole of my life. Jalan buji sital hoye manoa sadgur ka darsan paye ji. You want to put that fire out? We can do so through recitation upon the name of God. Never before Amandeep Singh has it seemed so sweet. Sadh Sangat Ji, just a quick thought, and this isn't really to show anybody else, because believe me, everybody's so insecure and consumed by their own shortcomings, no one's going to look at you anyway. So just for your own self, that you can direct your own mind in the company of the Guru, as you look before the Guru, who's going to wake up tomorrow and do 11 minutes Simran, sitting in their room before they undertake any other tasks in the day? Who's waking up tomorrow to do Simran? No elbows, bruv. We're in East London. Yeah, either you're in and we play the game of love. So 11 minutes Simran will take you roughly 11 minutes. Unless you get lost in it, in which case it could be forever. Sad Sangat Ji, 11 minutes Simran might take 11 minutes, but it's beyond time. We are the Sacha, Jugad Sacha, Happy Sacha Nanaka. Says the Guru that the shabad is before time was even created. Don't think you can bind it with time. These ideas that we do 11 minutes Simran is just to get our minds on the track, yeah? Let's see how those same problems that are there to confront you tomorrow afternoon feel a little bit less awkward or heavy as the shabad of the Guru has been taken into your heart. Sad Sangat Ji, this subject, this topic of the power of Simran, really is not fitting to call it a topic. It really should be a playlist series that has no end. There's so much more, there's so many more sakhia that I wanted to share of the power of Simran. There's so much examples. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj is saying in Japji Sada Parbi, Suniye duk paap ka nas. Just by listening to somebody else do Simran, Suniye, just by listening to someone doing Simran, all the duk, all of the paap, all of that homework can get wiped away. So Sad Sangat Ji, if ever there was a time in our lives where we realize what's missing or what's needed or what we have to do, if we have the courage to do it, it's sitting before the company of the Guru and the Sangat, hearing that the power of Simran is multiplied by being in the Sangat. Let's have the courage to bring Simran into our days. So Sad Sangat Ji, we must have made many mistakes. We're going to recite the Guru's mantra just 5 times together. And as we do this, Sad Sangat Ji, let's make our ardasa known. Guru Maharaj, I have those worldly ardasa, and they are going to be put before you still. But just for now, Maharaj, my ardas is this: Be Raj na chaho, Mukht na chaho, Man Preet Charan Kamalare. Be just do one thing for me, Maharaj. I don't want all those other things that I'm asking for normally every day. I'll ask for those tomorrow. But in this moment, as I sit before you, my only request is Man Preet Charan Kamalare. Be, yo, keep me here. Let it be the case that I'm kept here in the Sangat of the Guru. Be, Maharaj, keep me here. Allow me to always be in your charan. Allow me to always be in the company of the Sangat. Allow me to always be in the company of those that vibrate upon the name of God. Because I know for one thing that when I'm there, there is Anand, there is peace, there is Anand. Let's save our worldly ardasa for tomorrow. And let's just ask Maharaj from a place of love as we recite the Guru's mantra just 5 times together. Be, Maharaj, keep me in your charan. Man Preet Charan Kamalare. Just do one thing for me, Maharaj. Be, allow me to have love for your feet, to be lovingly given a place at your feet. Vaheguru You are the Sangat of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, the bearer of the Gurmantar, the giver of the gift of all gifts. That gift which allows us to make our breath acceptable in the court of the Lord. You are the Sangat of the Guru, so I ask for your forgiveness. You must have made many mistakes when talking of the Simran of the Gurmantar of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. I ask for your forgiveness. Bilekhe kathena chutiye khin khin pullan har, baksan har baksale nanak, pare utar. Vaheguru Ji ka khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki fateh.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Please donate and help spread Guruji's message. Link is in the description below. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.